Hey there, hey everybody, it's Baltimore with Total Geek Live Presents. I am here today to talk to you about Inhumans versus X-Men. That's right, the title that came out in 2016, Inhumans versus X-Men, was a huge event for Marvel, and it wrapped up a culmination of years worth of stories, more than years worth of stories, and build up about the Inhumans and the X-Men's plight. So to give you a little bit of background about this, IVX, which is known in the community as, is the Inhumans are basically a group of royal family, and they have a Terrigen crystal that they use to empower themselves and other members of the Inhuman community. In a few years ago, there was the Terrigen crystals, which had to be destroyed in order to save the Inhumans. So there's a lot more about that than I'm telling you about this at this point. But suffice to say, the Terrigen crystals were destroyed, and they end up becoming a huge cloud that encircles the world and goes around. And what it actually does is it empowers anybody who's had any Inhuman gene. So if there's Inhumans in their ancestry, they might have the potential to become Inhumans as well. So this was kind of Marvel's attempt to make new versions of mutants, because of some rights issues, which I won't go into because it's a little more complicated than just that. But we have a whole new crop of heroes and villains popping up that are now Inhumans. They are dubbed New Inhumans, Inhumans, for those who don't know. And they are not of royal blood. They are not the main family that's going to be on the ABC series. So this is kind of a huge status quo change because the Inhumans for many years since their inception, from Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, were recluse. They were did not want to have contact with the world. They had their own ideas. It was a royal family. It was the caste system. There were a lot of specific ideas that the Inhuman world encompassed, and it was kind of fun to have a outsider kind of group of heroes or villains, depending on what your take is on them, and then this whole kind of making all these more Inhumans just kind of diluted the brand for them. I think I'm not completely convinced that it has been successful, and you can tell me if you feel otherwise. I mean, I have been collecting them all. I do enjoy the Inhumans as a idea, as a title, so I do kind of have an understanding of what they're doing. So back to IVX specifically. This comes off of a small little event called Death of X, which is basically the death of Cyclops and how that came to be. That was a little mini-series, and it takes place about 8-9 months before IVX starts, and tells of his demise and how he died. And Emma and Cyclops are together again. She is in love with him. He's the only man she's ever loved. So there's this kind of like crazy devotion that she's carrying out here, and she basically, without spoiling it too much, Cyclops and his team of X-Men have been going around trying to destroy these Terrigen clouds, because it's basically made the mutant race all but extinct. It's been making them sterile. It's been making them sick. People are dying of the Terrigen sickness. Mutants only affected, and their two choices are either move to another world. Storm's X-Men at this point have been living in Limbo, which is a world that magic has been keeping them in, which is off-world. It's not affected by the Terrigen mists, clouds. And Cyclops is going around and trying to destroy them, and he comes up with one way to destroy them, which is pretty spectacular, although it ends up in a death of a character. And then at the end of Death of X, Cyclops is killed, and it's you see the big panel, and it's Black Bolt, the Inhumans king, who destroys him with the power of his voice, kills Cyclops, and it's devastating to kind of see that. Um, and Emma swears revenge, and now we jump forward to the beginnings of IVX, and you have Beast, the original X-Men, who is siding with the Inhumans to try to find a way to stop the Terrigen Mists. You know, he's trying to use his scientific mind. He's teaming up with other Inhumans to try to figure this out. So the main story is only about 6 issues, 7 if you count the 0 issue. It's written by Jeff Lemire and Charles Soule, with artwork by Lionel Francis Yu. The artwork is beautiful and amazing. I really do like his line work. It's very sharp. It's very uh, you can tell the characters. You can tell their kind of expressions. There's a lot of work done into their faces, and you can see a lot of interestingness going on there. So Storm, Magneto, and Emma come up with a plan to eliminate these Terrigen clouds. Beast comes up to them and tells them that, look, I think that Medusa and humans have decided to just let this happen, even though it's going to really hurt the mutant race. And we can just either keep trying to work with them or move off world. And they've decided to team up together. They keep Beast out of the picture because they don't want him to interfere with their plans to destroy the cloud. Emma and Dazzler go off and attack and ambush Black Bolt in the quiet room. And I have to say, the lead up to this part was pretty amazing. Dazzler did a great job. It was really cool, and a great use of Dazzler in a way that hasn't been seen in a while. And I wish you would get a lot more play. But that was really awesome. And then also the other X-Men go out and try to take out Karnak. Young Jean Grey takes him out. And then they also try to take out Gorgon and Crystal and Lockjaw. So they're all trying to make sure the Inhuman royal family is out of the picture so they can destroy the machine without hurting any of the other Inhumans or any of the humans that are around the world. So they're trying to, stop this. And they know that the biggest fight they would get is from the Inhuman royal family. So they try to, mitigate their challenges there. Magic teleports all the Inhumans that she can find and takes them to Limbo and leaves them there so they can be out of the picture, so to speak, while they are getting the rest of the, world together. The X-Men's Forge has created a device which would stop the clouds, which would incinerate basically the Terrigen cloud and stop the poisoning of mutants all around. He is defeated, unfortunately, by a new team of Inhumans, and the X-Men are fighting for their very lives. And once Medusa realizes that, once she realizes the extent of what they're trying to do and what they are, willing to risk for this, she voluntarily destroys the cloud, which would prevent any more new Inhumans from being developed. And it's one of those, it's a really great scene there. You see a lot of tension and a lot of conflict within her. She is the queen of the Inhumans. She is the ruler, and she has to make decisions about what would be best for her people. And she ends up deciding to stop what was killing another, group of people. And that's a pretty powerful moment. However, this is not the ending that Emma wanted. She wanted vengeance. She wanted revenge for the loss of Cyclops, for that raw wound in her. And she has created and reprogrammed Sentinels to now target Inhumans. So Sentinels, where they once attacked mutants and were trying to work on them, she has now reprogrammed them to eliminate and attack Inhumans. So the X-Men have to come together to stop Emma and the Sentinels from destroying any of the Inhumans, which they are able to do. They are attacking Emma, and she would have been hurt severely, but Havoc steps up and says, I'm going to make sure that you're okay as a favor to my brother, his brother Cyclops, and he helps her escape and then says, that's it. Medusa at the end of this, there's a lot of ramifications that happen from IVX. One of which is Medusa decides to give up the throne. She, abdicates her position. Black Bolt has already abdicated his position, and so now it goes to a new Inhuman called ISO. She takes over the monarchy and has decided to create a democracy instead. So that's the Inhuman royal family, as a result of this, decides to go back to the Kree. The Kree are, in the story, their creators, their progenitors. And so they go to the Kree to find out if there's any more ways to, bring back Terrigenesis, to bring back Terrigen crystals, so they can restart their Inhuman race in their royal line. This also leads into the Resurrection title, basically, which kind of revamps the entire line of Inhumans and X-Men. So that's kind of a fun way to move from, the post-Secret Wars era, which is what this is, into a new era. And then I guess you should talk about what does IVX really mean? So of course this is a play on the 2012 series Avengers vs. X-Men AVX. However, this time the Inhumans are versus the X-Men. And for a long time the Inhumans and X-Men were pitted against each other. And as I mentioned before, sort of as a rights issue, but also as, they are usurping the X-Men's thing. They are now, the underdog, the weird, the extremely strange, not normal group of characters. And, I have questioned this for a long time, that I really don't think it works. I understand from, a editorial standpoint, from a trying to diversify your crowd, to get more titles out there, why they would do this. I just don't think it was very successful. I think they went about it kind of haphazardly, and it left a bad taste in a lot of fans' mouths. And I kept trying to give them benefit of doubt, trying to see the good in them, and I found enjoyable characters. They have some great fun characters. Kamala Khan, for one, Miss Marvel, is amazing. She's a really, really great character. But I think what works with her best is she's a great character first, and then she's Inhuman. Whereas some of the characters that were created are Inhuman first, character second, development after that. And so I don't think that quite works as well. And then the whole concept of this felt very rushed. It's 6 issues, so it only takes place within 5-6 months story, monthly wise. And I'm grateful for that, because sometimes these events drag on and on. So grateful that this was not one of those. I just don't think there was enough to get this started and to make the stakes as high as it was. I mean, yes, you have Cyclops dead. Yes, you have the other characters that have died. And then some of the story gaps in here that you're left to fill in, I just don't think were enough. I don't think there was enough to really make the story whole. There were some really great tie-ins. Of course, the Extraordinary X-Men, All New X-Men, Uncanny Inhumans, All New Inhumans. They all kind of tied into this. But I have to say the best tie-in series was Deadpool and the Mercs for Money. This I think they had 3-issue tie-in, 2-issue tie-in, and it was really fun, and it used a lot of characters that you didn't get to see very often in new ways, and I really, really enjoyed that. So I definitely say pick up that one just for a fun trip in that world. But IVX was, definitely an ending to some of the ongoing stories of the Inhumans and the X-Men, and allowed for a nice springboard into a new era, which I think has been a lot more kind to the X-Men than it has been to the Inhumans, per se. But we'll see how that's all going to shake out later on. But I enjoyed it. I don't think it was as great as the event could be. Um, I love the art. I think Jeff and Charles did a great job working on it. I just think there were some things that didn't quite work or gel in this. But let me know what you think. Tell me how you feel about Inhumans and the X-Men. If you feel IVX was great, tell me. If you feel it was terrible, tell me that too. So, yes, thanks for watching. And as always, it's all geek to us. Take care.